Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to another match review where Chelsea have just beaten Palmeiras 2-1 in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Club World Cup to progress to the semi-finals. What a game of football that was to watch. It was definitely a Chelsea game that you needed to watch. So in this video, I'm going over my personal match reaction of what I thought, my thoughts and feelings, as well as going over the match stats to see if it lines up with the eye test. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10K by the end of 2025. Where do I start with this game? Chelsea go through to the semi-finals of the Club World Cup, 2-1 winners. And to be fair, very thoroughly deserved winners in my opinion. There was a wonder goal by Estevao, which we'll talk about later. There was a goal from Cole Palmer, an own goal to send us through. We were piling on the pressure. We dominated the game. The way that we set this game up, we played fantastically well in that first half, and even in the second half for large spells. We let our concentration go a little bit, but we got it over the line, and I'm just very, very impressed with the overall performance. The way we started this game with the intensity, the passion, the way we were pressing from the front, we were all over Palmeiras, and they didn't know how to deal with us, and that's the honest truth. They didn't know how to deal with us in that first half. Cole Palmer scoring that beautiful goal, receiving the ball on the half turn, skipping past the player, and just simply passing the ball into the net and seeing that cold celebration. Unreal. But this all started before the game even kicked off, where Reece James was in the starting lineup to play in that holding midfield role, even though we have the likes of Asugo and Santos on the bench, which is very questionable in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. It's very questionable. If you've got the rotation in that midfield, when you have no Caicedo on the rarities and no Lavia, and you've got Asugo and Santos there, utilise them. Now, unfortunately, and kind of fortunately really in terms of how the game played out, but unfortunately on the player specifics, Reece James picked up an injury during the warm-up, which means Andrey Santos got his full Chelsea start. And what a game this guy had. An absolute masterclass. This guy was everywhere, making challenges, playing the ball forward, breaking up the play, pressing very well. Distribution was fantastic. He was a perfect like-for-like for Caicedo, which is very interesting to me. I've always seen him as a number 8, a box-to-box. Enzo Maresca's even said he's more of a box-to-box midfielder, but he's played him in that Caicedo role, and he was unbelievable. I can't stress to you enough how good he was today. It's like we didn't miss Caicedo, because Andrey Santos slid straight in. He was fantastic. And to be fair, we were fantastic all across the pitch. That first half was pure dominance, and it's the same old Chelsea. We just couldn't kill the game off. After that first goal, we had all the momentum. Palmeiras really didn't have a sniff. Defensively, we were locking people up. Estevao didn't even have a sniff in that first half. Cucurella and Colwell did fantastically well. Neto, obviously with all things considered, he played today. There was a lovely gesture in the minute silence, and he played well today. Didn't have his best game, understandably, but the whole team as a unit played very, very well. Delap did get a booking, which is his second booking, which means he is now suspended for the semi-finals. And we did see a debut for Joao Pedro, who in all honesty had a very good debut. When he first come on, obviously a few touches that didn't go his way, but his link-up play was fantastic. He had a fair few good strikes. He was just fantastic. Hold up play, pressing the ball, getting involved in the play, going in the wide channels, drifting centrally and staying centrally when needed. He had a very good debut, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that progresses within this Chelsea team. He had that grit as well, which we really, really needed. Delap, I felt sorry for today. He didn't get a lot of service, a lot of balls lumped into him, trying to hold things up. But other than that, he didn't really get a lot of service. Trying to get balls in the box, he couldn't get anywhere near them. Palmeiras did very well to defend them, and there was no clear-cut chances for him, unfortunately. So he was obviously pulled off. But when it comes to the second half, it was a completely different story for the first 10 minutes, because my God, Chelsea didn't come out the changing rooms. We were woeful in that first 10 minutes. Palmeiras really hungry, really wanted it, piled loads of pressure on us, and to be fair, Chelsea dealt with most of it for that big period. However, there is a certain Brazilian wonder kid who scored a wonder goal tonight. And I don't want to hear anyone saying Sanchez shouldn't be conceding at his near post, blah, blah, blah. Because if you actually watched it in real time, What a strike from Estevao. I'm so happy, so grateful, and we're so lucky as Chelsea fans that Estevao is coming to Chelsea after this tournament. Technically from tonight, because Palmeiras have been sent packing. But mate, the ball through to Estevao, his first touch to break away from Cucurella, the tight angle and the power of the strike, straight into the near post, top corner, kissing the bottom of the crossbar into the goal to make it 1-0. And mate, it was just a wonder goal. One of those goals where I genuinely just went, fair enough. Fair enough. You don't save those. You do not save those. He was good tonight. He was locked up for long periods with Colwell and Cucurella, but in the second half he did get a lot more freedom and was creating a lot more, and we did have a bit of a scare late on in the game when we were 2-1 up from another chance from another Palmeiras player, which was very, very close to going in the far corner. However, Sanchez played very well today. He collected a lot of crosses. He was very dominant in his box and no silly distribution from him. Yes, he conceded, but in my opinion, there was nothing he could do about that goal at all, which seems to be a running thing in this competition. Sanchez has been really solid, and the goals he's conceded he couldn't really do much about. But that's just coincidence, I'm assuming. But yeah, Palmeiras were fantastic in the first 10 minutes. After we conceded, Chelsea did get back into the game. We then started dominating large spells of that second half. And again, we were just knocking on the door, trying to get that second goal. And we had so many corners, so many deflected shots, so many defended shots. Passage of plays weren't quite coming off, but we were still knocking away, still chipping away. And that second goal finally comes for an unlikely source of gusto. It was given as an own goal, rightfully so. It was deflected, but we had one of those corners where you play it short, pass it around a few times, and the ball comes into Gusto. He swings it in on his left foot. It unfortunately comes off the defender's leg for Palmeiras, unfortunately for the defender of Palmeiras, and then it goes into the back of the net. Bounces twice before it goes in, by the way. Completely takes the keeper out of the equation. I think it even comes off of the keeper as it's going past him. And Chelsea go 2-1 up in the 86th minute. And we just have to see the game out. This was a really good performance, a really dominating performance from Chelsea. Very surprised. South American teams are very physical. We were, worried about coming up against the likes of Estevao. People may say now, in hindsight, that yeah, we should have won that. Should be an easy win, but it should never be an easy win, especially with the South American teams. We learnt with Flamengo. Palmeiras tonight, we played them off the park, in my opinion. And a thoroughly deserved victory to go into the semi-finals, where we face yet another South American team in Fluminense, where we come up against an old Chelsea comrade, Thiago Silva. Now, we did see the game out very well, in my opinion. Maresca made some changes, brought on KDH, brought on Asugo. Andrey Santos come off on the 90th minute with a standing ovation for most of the stadium. He was fantastic tonight. I can't reiterate that. Defensively, we were solid. Midfield worked very well. Delap, again, a bit missing because there wasn't a lot of service. Joao Pedro played incredibly well. Enzo did very well as well. So all round, a very good performance. So very, very happy into the semi-finals. It's very early in the morning in the UK. It's currently 4:30 while I'm recording this. So I'm extremely tired. So sorry if I've repeated myself a lot, but a thoroughly deserved victory and such a good performance to watch. It genuinely was. Like, if this is how Chelsea are going to start games now, it's going to be an incredibly exciting season going into next season. But let's take a look at the match facts. So as we can see, Palmeiras 1, Chelsea 2. Estevao with that goal in the 53rd minute. Palmer with the first goal in the 16th minute. And a Weatherton own goal in the 83rd minute. Oh, sorry, I thought it was the 86th. 83rd minute. And then you can just take a look from the momentum. This is a very dominant performance from Chelsea from the get-go. That first half, look at that blue. Look at that blue and look at that green. Again, at the end, last spell of that first half, Palmeiras were starting to come back into the game a little bit, but Chelsea dealt with them very, very well. Had that goal early on, and then that second half, you can see, look, Chelsea, pretty much not in the game, and Palmeiras really took advantage of their spike in momentum, got their goal from Estevao, wonder goal, like I said, very, very good strike. And then again, Palmeiras kind of out of the game. Chelsea returned to dominance through the momentum charts anyway. Palmeiras had a little bit of that little spike, and then Chelsea went back into it. We managed to get that own goal, and I feel like if it wasn't the own goal, we would have got a goal at some point. It was just an unlikely source. Very much like the Reece James's free kick against Benfica. I feel like we still would have went on and won, but we got a goal from an unlikely source, and we take that, right? Very good, well hit free kick, to be fair. But yeah, and then we saw the game out very nicely. And when you look at the top stats, possession 63%, 1.14 expected goals to 0.21 of Palmeiras, and they're 37% possession. Total shots, they had 7, we had 19, 1 big chances each. And according to FootMob, Trevor Chalobah was the player of the match with an 8.2 rating. Very interesting for me. We will go into the lineup and look at the stats as well. And when you look at the events and how things played out, Gusto got a yellow card in the 41st. Liam Delap gets one in the injury time of the first half, so he misses the semi-final game. Half-time, obviously, you had Palmer's goal, assisted by Trevor Chalobah, which is a nice little driven ball in for Palmer to receive on the half-turn. And then in the second half, Estevao, again, 53 minutes, assisted by Richard Rios. And then Madueke came on for Nkunku. Pedro came on for Delap on the 54th minute. I must say, Madueke did well when he came on. He looked bright. He looked pacey. He looked like he was always trying to beat a man. Won us a lot of corners today. Very unlucky he hit the post from a saved shot. Very unlucky not to get a goal today. I think he played very, very well. Palmeiras made a lot of changes here, and then Richard Rios was also booked. And then straight after that period, this is the dominant period for Chelsea. We then go and get that second goal, the own goal from Weatherton, and then they make another change. And Colwell gets booked. He now misses the semi-final, so there's going to be a bit of a shake-up to the Chelsea 11 for that semi-final. I still feel confident in the way that we've been playing for sure. And then Dewsbury Hall and Asugo comes on for Neto and Santos, and we see the game out. Let's take a look at the lineups. So this is the team that started the match. We had Sanchez with a 6.7, which does surprise me. Maybe conceding the goal puts his score down, but he didn't really have much to do, in all fairness, other than collecting crosses and being dominant and commanding in his box. I thought he had a very good game, and I don't think it was his fault he conceded the goal. But 6.7, I would have given him a higher rate, and I'd have gone at least a 7.2 personally. Gusto with a 7.5, I think is quite questionable. I don't think he had an amazing game. Better than previous games, of course, but I still don't think 7.5. He gave possession away a lot of misplaced passes. Obviously, he did force the error for the second goal, so that does go in his favour. I would have probably given him a 6.8 or a 7 at an absolute push. It was a better performance than what we've seen from Gusto recently, but I wouldn't have said it was a 7.5. I wouldn't have rated him higher than Sanchez, in my opinion. Cucurella was 7.5. Again, to have Cucurella and Gusto rated the same doesn't make sense to me, stats-wise. Cucurella had a very good game. He locked up Estevao for most of the game, really. He had that one moment where Estevao scored that he didn't, obviously, but I think Cucurella had a very, very solid game. Same with Levi Colwell. He was very solid today. He made a not a goal line clearance, but a massive block that was needed. I think it was during that first half, maybe in the second half, can't quite remember. My brain is mush right now. But he made a big chance, like a save of a big chance. He was very solid today. Unfortunate for him to get the yellow card, which now means he misses the next round. Chalobah with an 8.2. Chalobah was very good today. He was very good today. Obviously, he gets the assist. He was also very solid. I would have personally said that Colwell was better than Chalobah overall. So I don't know if the assist kind of puts his score up even more. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know your thoughts down below regarding Chalobah. I still think he had a very good game. But to see him as man of the match, just quite surprised. Now, moving into the holding midfield roles. Enzo Fernandez with a 7.3. I thought it would be a bit higher, if I'm being honest. I think he had a very, very good game. Very influential going forward. A lot of good passes made. Did a bit of the dirty work as well today. Santos, for me, was the man of the match. 7.5. Again, I think it would be a lot higher. I would have swapped Chalobah's rating with Santos personally, giving him an 8.2. He was fantastic. Like I said, we didn't even miss Caicedo. That's how good he was. He slotted straight in. Fantastic player. So grateful that we've got him, and I'm hoping he gets many more minutes across this season, because if that's how he's going to play, unbelievable player. And then we look to the left wing, we've got Nkunku with a 6.6. Now, I think Nkunku played relatively well today. He only played 54 minutes. That does go against him in terms of his score, right? But I think he played all right. I don't think he had an amazing game. I don't think he was poor. I think he just had an average game. So a 6.6 for me seems pretty fair. Palmer with an 8, I think, is spot on. Gets his goal, which obviously boosts his rating a little bit, but he was very good today, very influential at times. He was just a menace. Had a lot more freedom today. A lot more freedom to pick passes, to find space for himself, to then get himself the goal. He was very, very good. And when we go for Neto, a 7.7 I think is a good rating. There were quite the times in the game where we forgot he was on the pitch because he was just doing his job, but then he came to life when we were on the break or trying to attack down that right hand side, and he linked up very well with Palmer today. And again, very, very big game for him in terms of recent circumstances. Surprisingly, he did play. Obviously, we saw Cancelo and Neves also play today. Very emotional day for them, of course. But even considering that, he played very well for when he was on the pitch. And then again, you got Delap, who got a 6, and I think that's about fair. He gets booked, that takes him down, and he wasn't really involved in the game. He didn't have a lot of service. He looked very frustrated. That's where the yellow card come from. It's probably a bit of a soft yellow card in all fairness. I don't think it would have been given in the Premier League, and we know the officiating in this competition has just been all over the place and wild. But I think a 6 is fair for Liam Delap, if I'm being brutally honest. And then when we go to the substitutes, you got Joao Pedro with a 7. I think that's fair, you know. He came on, he only had minimal minutes comparatively, right? Just under a half. But he was very, very bright. Very bright, pressing from the front, impressive. First touch, when he was first on the pitch, his first touch wasn't too great, and he had a few weird shots that, you know, you'd expect him to do better. But again, he's brand new. He's on holiday a few days ago, and now he's playing with Chelsea. It's crazy. But since that moment onwards, he was fantastic. Link-up play, hold-up play, pressing from the front, the grit to try and win the ball back. He had some good shots, which any other day could have gone in. His future at Chelsea looks very bright off of the back of this very short sort of spell, right? If he continues like that, he will score goals for fun in this Chelsea team. And very, very curious and interesting to see how it develops throughout this tournament and going into next season, because I was expecting Jackson to come on off the bench for Delap. That didn't happen. Not even a sniff. Went for Joao Pedro straight away. So, and I was pretty sure Jackson was on the bench. It was just like a default. If he was, then please correct me in the comments, because I'm pretty sure he was on the bench. His suspension should have been lifted for this game. He should be ready for it. But yeah, we went straight for Joao Pedro, or Maresca went straight for Joao Pedro. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it a bit too much. Maybe I'm not. Is Jackson out this summer? Is he going to stay? Has he got to fight for his position? Has Maresca really lost trust in him? Who really knows? Mabueke with a 6.5, I think that's a bit low personally. I think he deserved probably around a 7 as well. I think he was just very bright, a lot of pace, trying to beat a man, winning fouls, winning us a lot of corners. Very positive from Noni Mabueke today. Obviously, there are a lot of talks of him going to Arsenal today. It's now been confirmed that he's open to the move, which is wild. But we'll speak about that in tomorrow's video or later on today's video. Again, it's early in the morning, so I apologise. But I thought he had a good half, or 54 minutes onwards. I think he played very, very well. And then obviously you got Dewsbury Hall and Asugo, who don't get ratings because they were only on for less than 5 minutes. But again, they did their job very well. They came on to do a job, to see the game out, and they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. So, yeah, I think the stats overall are pretty fair. There's a couple I disagree with personally, and I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you agree or disagree with these ratings, especially for the lineup the lineup and the substitutes? Do you think this is fair? Would you have given Chalobah the man of the match? Let me know your thoughts. I would have personally given it to Andrey Santos, but those are the match stats. So that's my overall match review and the match stats of the Palmeiras-Chelsea game. Again, Chelsea go through to the semi-finals. It was a very well-deserved victory, in my opinion. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions about this game down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. Did you guys stay up and watch this game? Have you just watched the highlights? Very curious to know. If you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.